So, Matt, you have a new piece in the Daily Beast entitled, "It's Time for Republicans to Go Nuclear and Dump Trump." And you write in part, quote, "Maybe the evidence seized was so valuable that the risk of turning Trump into even more of a martyr justified the raid. Otherwise, either the feds obtained enough evidence to put him away, or they may have just put him in the White House." When dealing with Trump, Napoleon's maxim that if you start to take Vienna rings true. Anything that doesn't kill his political career probably makes it stronger. Now, I would like to believe that conservatives, particularly those who value national security, will appreciate the especially serious nature of this breach and react accordingly. Is it possible that this threat is so serious that it could move the needle when everything else, including January 6th, didn't? In the past, national security has been cited as a reason why Trump shouldn't be elected president. In 2016, Republican Senator Marco Rubio declared that we can't give the nuclear codes of the United States to an erratic individual. Well, we did. And now we're waiting, Matt, to find out exactly what are in those documents. There's a certain presumption that could be made, given that the search warrant required certain bars to be met by a judge legally. Having said that, it's going to take quite some time to see what's in there.
That's right. So we see through a glass darkly. Political prognostications are dangerous, and all those caveats, I think, do apply. But, you know, I have to say a few years ago, because I always knew that Donald Trump couldn't be trusted. I was always very skeptical of Donald Trump. But a few years ago, I think I would have assumed that the feds, that the intel community, that the Justice Department had everything buttoned out, that they knew what they were doing, and that they would not have done this unless either A, they had to do it because it was so top security and so dangerous, or B, that they had the goods, that they could actually finally put Donald Trump away without it redounding to Donald Trump's benefit. I'm not so confident of that anymore. Now, I know who I trust more. Donald Trump is not that person. But look, I do think that on one hand, David is absolutely right. I don't think that we should be making decisions, that the Department of Justice should be making decisions based on primarily on political ramifications. On the other hand, we were talking earlier about the political arena and the legal arena. The only chance that Republicans had, I think, of moving past Donald Trump was not to confront him. It was not to disavow him. It was to move past him. And they were in the process of doing that, I believe, with Ron DeSantis. And I do think that this has short-circuited that. So now we'll have to wait and see how it plays out in the legal arena.
Yeah, but Matt, you know, I'm with you. Of course, I've been with you for some time. I keep waiting for conservatives to start acting conservative again, and it just hasn't happened, but except with one exception, and that is Ukraine. You'll remember at the beginning of the Russian invasion, you heard more chatter on the right, sort of a pushback against Joe Biden, a pushback. They were, of course, some of the most powerful figures on the Trump right actually saying they would cheer for Russia against Ukraine. And you heard others starting to go down that path, and that stopped pretty quickly. And suddenly conservatives started acting like conservatives from Reagan and Thatcher's days and actually were pushing back against strong men. I'm curious, that was a national security concern. I'm curious if the same could repeat itself here when, you know, there are a lot of reasons to be skeptical about that. But that is one example. That is one example of former conservatives who've now become cultists, former conservatives actually breaking out of their trance for a few minutes and actually remembering that, wait, we conservatives were against Russian expansionism.
Yeah, I'm curious too, Joe. And I think obviously we've seen so many examples of where things that honestly, the things that I got involved in politics, that I became a Republican and a conservative about, the party is now 180-degree difference. And we've seen so many examples. You know, if you're a social conservative, but you voted for Trump after the Access Hollywood video came out, the cognitive dissonance there. Or if you were a free market conservative who believed you was a fiscal conservative, and then all the spending that we saw and you know, tariffs. And so there have been so many examples, even in the national security realm, Donald Trump saying great things about Vladimir Putin, right? As opposed to, say, Ronald Reagan, who showed moral clarity in his political rhetoric. But the Ukraine example does stand out. And look, would it be possible that finally the needle could be moved? I'm skeptical of it. But if it does, in fact, turn out that there's evidence that Donald Trump was mishandling top secret nuclear information and documents, would someone like a Marco Rubio, you know, find his spine again? I'd love to see it.